3 River City logging trucks are hauling down this road on the east side of Vancouver Island, BC, Canada. 2 Challenger preload trucks and a Pacific P16. One of the trucks developed a wheel seal leak and is parked for repairs. A leaking seal will get oil onto the brakes, which greatly reduces the braking capability and can be extremely dangerous. Welcome to the channel. I'm Dave Sears. It's July 6, 2026. For today's episode, I'm with heavy-duty mechanic Adrian Bailey to film a wheel seal replacement, which involves removing the wheels, axle shaft, planetary gear set, bearings, and more. I've been curious for a long time about the inner workings of these off-highway truck axles, so I'm thankful for this opportunity to see a Clark 121,000-pound axle being disassembled and repaired. Thanks to Sean Estabrook of River City Logging for the green light to do this episode about his trucks, and thanks to Adrian. I met Adrian and Levi in Campbell River at 5 a.m. and followed the shop truck out here. Downtime for these big trucks is costly, so getting the Challenger repaired and back in service is top priority. For reference, when Adrian says 121s or 91s, he is talking about the 2 types of axles on these trucks, a 121,000-pound version and a 91,000-pound version.
Hi, I'm Adrian Bailey, Blackbird Equipment Repair. I do mostly remote forestry-based work, heavy mechanical. Big shout out to Mac McNabb for letting me borrow his shop truck today with Highside Mechanical. Today we're going to do a wheel seal on an off-highway logging truck. 1994 West Coast Challenger with 121s. Now these are 5-piece rims, they're heavier. The general rule of thumb is when you're taking the wheels off, you just loosen the nuts and you got to hit the rim with a hammer a bunch just to neutralize everything and make sure there's no loaded up pressure. You're dealing with split rims and they can be dangerous. The 5-piece rim is less than the 3-piece, that's a 3-piece. But you got to be safe with these things because split rims can be, split rims have killed people over the years. So these are actually, these are really just holding the wedge. The ring is the wedge in this situation, but on 91, these are the wedge and they go right in against the rim. And there is another style for 121s that would go in there separately and you'd have multiple pieces, but this style has just the ring. This big ring is our wedge. These 1-piece rings are a little more of a pain in the ass than the single wedges, but I bet they hold a little better, so probably a good reason they used them. Right. There we go. You can see there's a wedge ring, right?
All right.
That wedge is in there. Now we're down towards the ground again here. Goes. Just about finding that neutral spot, you know? This thing weighs more than Santa Claus, so you don't want to end up on the wrong side of it. It'll hurt you. Just dance her out like a heavy girl. Come right out of here. Yeah, this is your spacer ring. This keeps your, this is a spacer ring. It keeps the wheels separated on the hub. And round 2. There we go. Stinker. There we go. You know, they're big.
Yeah.
They're heavy. They're a bit of a fight. And you don't want to lose control of it and wear it because you'll break a leg.
Yeah. Yep.
So basically, the whole reason behind these on these trucks is it gives you further gear reduction. So where ordinary highway truck has an axle coming out from the diff and it's locked solid to your hub, it's 1-to-1 there. This way, the axle itself may have to spin, 15, 20 times to get a full rotation out of the hub. It's the same as an excavator. It just gives you an extra. It gives you an extra gear reduction, slows the vehicle down, but it gives it more torque and power to the road. And these trucks need it in the conditions they work in. And those are your bearing nuts there. And those are the next to come off. So the axle is splined to the diff through there, like a standard axle. The axle splined to the diff, it comes out as a sun gear here, and it drives our planetary case, which is bolted to the hub. Our outer ring gear is stationary on the spindle. So this is our bearing nut special tool here. This slides into the axle tube and custom fabricated socket to fit over our bearing nuts. Let's see here. There we go.
Levi Lawrence is doing regular maintenance work on the truck and helping Adrian with the bearing nuts removal and install.
Heel bars. I try it without the snipe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
Oh, I always think Sometimes the threads get a little buggered.
Yeah, they love getting buggered in there.
Yeah.
And then it's just another fight, right?
Yeah, it might fight me to the end there. There we go.
How long you been wrenching, Levi?
Not very long.
You like it?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Paycheck's good.
Yep. Save those parts, put those in the safe spot.
Okay, thanks, buddy. So, you'll see this ring gear actually splines onto the spindle, and the bearing is press fit onto the back of this. So it's fairly heavy. I think I'll probably get it out a bit and use the crane, but this is coming out next, just the ring gear itself, and that's separate from the whole hub. And that gets it out of the way, and then the hub will slide off there. There's our, might have to manhandle it. Just a sec. This is going to be a little more of a task. So this is the hub and the brake drum. So this is what the wheel is wedged to, and it is squeezed together by the bearings to set the preload on the bearings, and this spins on your spindle shaft. It's important to note that you can't remove the wheel seal without wrecking it, basically. So the first crucial step is to make sure when you install a new one that you make sure the bearing is in there first. Because if you do that, which I did one time in my apprenticeship, then you have to pop it back out and wreck the seal, and then you're down. Bearing is good. Bearing is healthy. I like that.
How could you tell if there was something wrong with it?
Well,
Be all scratched up, or?
yeah, there's such a slow-moving bearing that, especially in camp situations, sometimes they'll get ran a little longer than they should. But you'll pop the final drive cover and you'll see metal filings everywhere. It's kind of obvious, or it looks like never sees. It's shiny. And then you'll see pitting or pockets, and in worst case scenario, which happened to me recently, there's like big craters and canyons and caves and stuff dug into the bearing.
Oh.
And so it's very obvious, and there's metal filings everywhere. So the first thing we're going to change here is what's called the wear ring or wear sleeve. This is a replaceable wear surface for the oil ring to go onto. If they didn't have that on here, eventually the oil seal would wear into the base metal of the spindle, and you'd have to replace that, and that's expensive, and you know, we don't need that. So this is a replaceable surface. You don't have to change it every time, but if it's got grooves, this one's, you know, borderline, so I'll go ahead and change that. There is a little spring in here. Now, I only brought one seal today, and I've been burnt, fortunately, at a shop before. We're installing this with a tool, even the tool made for it. You can pop the spring out and damage it, and if you don't have another seal with you, you're actually screwed. So I've learned to take this spring out and put it back in once the seal's in there.
pretty good.
So it's good to be diligent. And it's a
Yeah.
big job. It's a journey to the center of the earth to get into the seal, right?
Yes.
So got to check a lot of things while you're in there. Okay. So that is the lock ring, and you fold these tabs over to lock each nut individually to the spindle. Only that way it can't back off.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Screw myself, did I?
That's in. That'll hold for me to torque it. Here's a notch out for that, your filler right there. Gotta watch for that. It's just another booby trap along the way.
That's Dalton Marshall in the Pacific P-16. He's stopping to fuel up. Nolan Henderson pulls over to do a final check on the wrappers and tires of the Blue Challenger.
Yeah, so back in with the wedge. Enough as it gets, maybe.